WRUB HD3 Clearwater and the mighty AM 620 WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station. It's Thursday from Pinellas Park to Trinity and all around Tampa Bay, plus worldwide on iHeartRadio.
The gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full-court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Welcome aboard on this Let It Ride Thursday. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. The Drive with TKras is on your radio, presented by Moss Nissan. Great to have you with us on just a glorious day outside. One of the top 5 days of the year. There's a chill in the air. It kind of feels like the middle of November. It kind of feels like Thanksgiving type of weather. Food, football, really an underrated and overlooked holiday. I can hardly wait. It is a week from today. You got Chris Mathis on the other side. We are live in living color, don't you know? And 95.3 on the FM side, the mighty AM 620. And don't forget to download the iHeartRadio app. Crystal clear reception through the app. It is free. Put it through your Bluetooth. Truckers for TKras out there. I certainly appreciate all of you guys for doing what you do. Take us with you wherever you might be headed on the iHeartRadio app. Ask your smart speaker or Alexa to play WDAE. And wouldn't you know, we're streaming. So if you want to watch, the motto, look at this face, you people smell, okay?
I don't want to be associated with that guy. He's a loser.
One of the more underrated gimmicks in wrestling history, Rick the Model Martel. But you can watch the show now. We are streaming. I can see it. I can hear you. I can see you.
I can hear you.
Thank you, Eric, because I can see it. We're streaming on YouTube. Facebook is a go. X is a go. At 953 WDAE and AM 620. Like and subscribe all day, every day. The phone numbers, you know them, you love them. Now use them. 888-546-4620. You can text in your thoughts on the Bartow 4 DAE text platform. That is at 82945, where standard message and data rates do apply. And all guests today and every day will appear via the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. I'm excited about today. Yesterday was, it is exciting, Coach. Yesterday was stressful. It was mentally and physically exhausting. I was exasperated when I left here yesterday. I said to Chris Mathis, hey, I'll see you later. Yeah, good job on the show. See you later.
Yeah, you were pretty quick last night heading out, and understandably so. I mean, there was a lot to yesterday, and you did quite a bit of homework even before the show. I did. Just a lot going on.
And you guys have no idea what's happening. You guys don't know. You don't know some of the intricacies and the things that I go through each and every day. A lot of you numbskulls, and not a lot of you, I'll just say there's a select couple of numbskulls who think I just show up, turn on the mic, talk for 2 hours. I like some of you idiots. You're only up for 2 hours on Monday, Tuesday. I don't make the schedule, you imbecile. We have Buccaneer Total Access. We didn't have it this week because they were on a bye.
Not at this time.
Not at this time. Thank you, Coach. But that's the schedule. I don't make the schedule. Freaking idiots. We have mailbag coming up tomorrow, and some of you are going to get it. Not that you haven't gotten it already because, you're used to getting abused because you are that dumb. How dumb are you is the question of the week when it comes to some of you. But there's a lot that goes into what happens here. There's a lot of research. There are a lot of conversations. There's texting. There's calls. There's all sorts of communication. The type of communication which is needed right now, because we are in the danger zone still when it comes to the Rays and the stadium situation and everything that's happening all around it. Now, yesterday on this program, Pinellas County Commissioner Chris Latvala joined us, and I appreciate everyone who has reached out, calls, texts, whatever. People were enlightened by the interview. Some people were still aggravated by some of the things that Mr. Latvala was saying, and some people were actually in favor of what he was saying. And look, I try and be the arbitrator here. I want to be the person that looks at this from all angles, and that's always the way that I want to play it. I want to be objective. I want to be honest. I want to be passionate. I want to get all the information. And from that information, I give you my informed opinion. And after I talked to Chris Latvala yesterday, I had this impassioned speech or monologue, or it wasn't a monologue, it was a rant, really, about basically the state of affairs. The State of the Union address, basically, here in Tampa Bay when it comes to our baseball team. And I made the remark, and I'll repeat it again for those who missed it yesterday. Even if you don't like sports, even if you don't like baseball, I think the Rays are good for Tampa Bay on so many different levels. And we have to figure out a way to make it work. Because I think Major League Baseball wants to make it work here as well. And to that point, the update on this story was that last night or yesterday, Rob Manfred was speaking up in New York at the owners' meetings, and he was asked about the Rays situation. I'll give you a direct quote from Mr. Manfred. Quote, "We're committed to the fans in Tampa Bay. I think given everything that's happened in that market, we're focused on our franchise in Tampa Bay now." He went on to say there's a lot of uncertainty with respect to the situation in Tampa Bay. Much of that uncertainty we just don't control. He's talking about the Hurricanes, of course. We need to let the government officials in Tampa Bay sort out where they are in a variety of issues. I understand the delay given the damage that they suffered down there, and we're just going to have to wait for some of that uncertainty to resolve itself. Manfred also says about the Rays, financial issues are financial issues. They're resolvable in some way, shape, or form. Whether these get resolved or not remains to be seen. So I don't know if he's saying anything outlandish there or newsworthy. He also says it's one thing to make an interim arrangement for 2025, which we've done, talking about the Rays playing at Steinbrenner. Then he goes on to say, quote, "When you get into another year, there's obviously going to be another interim arrangement unless they get the trop fixed. And I think that second year of an interim arrangement, you need a plan as to how you're going to get into a permanent facility," unquote. So that is the quote right there. That's the most important part of his statement. We know that the Rays are trying to get their ducks in a row. They're playing at Steinbrenner Field, and I know Mr. Latvala and some people on the Pinellas County Commission probably weren't big fans of that. But look, I'll defend the Rays on that point. That was the only viable solution here in Tampa Bay. With adequate facilities, infrastructure, parking, all of it. Check, check, and check. Steinbrenner Field was head and shoulders the only place. And I mentioned that 2 days before they made that announcement, Chris Mathis, when you posed the question, I think it was fill in the blank. The Rays will be playing at blank in 2025. And I said Steinbrenner Field without question. And I just thought that that was the best possible option of all the options that were out there. When it was made clear to us that they were going to stay in the Tampa Bay area because other sites were mentioned. Omaha was mentioned. Omaha! Peyton Manning. That was mentioned. Well, they play the College World Series. I'm like, no, you can't go out there. And if they were going to play at a Major League Stadium, I mean, the closest one was down in Miami. But, look, you couldn't get people to drive across the bridge from Tampa to St. Pete to go to a Trop. They're sure as hell not going to drive 4 hours, 4.5 hours down south to whatever the hell that ballpark is called down in Miami, which is also not in an ideal spot. So Steinbrenner Field was the only viable option available to the Rays, and I thought that was the best move that they could make. They're making the best of a really unusual an unprecedented situation. Obviously, the commission's not happy about that. But look, I would tell them to get over it. I think that is the only way out of this for 2025. Now in 2026, as you heard the commissioner mention from his comments last night at the owners' meetings, there needs to be a plan. And I can tell you, I don't think the Rays have that plan right now. I don't think they're thinking beyond 2025 because there's a lot on their plate. They're obviously not happy that that the bonds weren't voted upon or passed right before the elections. They're still steamed about that. They sent the letter. We know what the letter entails. I wasn't a fan of the letter, to be quite honest. So I'm looking at this impartially and objectively. But, you know, the one thing that has to happen, and this came up in my conversation with Chris Latvala yesterday, is that there needs to be a meeting. There needs to be a situation where you lock yourselves in a room. You said, okay, let's do it right here and right now. What do you need to get off your chest, Mr. Ald? Mr. Silverman, how do you feel about this? And just get it all off your chest. Because if you leave it pent up inside, as all of you know, that's never healthy for anybody. Let it all out. Get yourselves in a room. Lock yourselves in a room. If it helps, like, you know, I mentioned the pissing match and everything else. Some people were amused by it. Some people not so much. But, you know, it's not a literal term. It's figurative. Just get everything off your chest. Get it out there. Articulate. And once all that gets out there and you relieve yourself, then cooler heads can prevail. Then you calm down. Then you talk business. Don't let egos and pride get in the way of the one main objective. And that main objective is getting baseball to stay right here in Tampa Bay. So yesterday, Chris Latvala mentioned that, oh, there might be hope. And then I had the follow-up question, what do you mean hope? What do you mean by that? Here was his response.
I think you just, you know, you talk, you look at people in the eye. And, you know, certain conversations you don't have, you know, over the phone. And, you know, you sit around a table and you just have a frank conversation.
And that's what needs to happen. Face-to-face meeting. Now, the Rays claim that they were in constant contact with some of the members of the commission, so they weren't happy that they were being portrayed as people that weren't in communication. Or incommunicado. So that's part of the reason why they sent that letter. They wanted to, you know, put the point, you know, get their point across that, you know, they weren't happy about the bonds not being voted through because they were all set and prepared for it. And they weren't happy that they were being portrayed as people that weren't returning phone calls or texts or emails. And they claim that they have been doing all of that. But look, it's never too late, okay, to make something work. It's never too late to make something right. And I think we still have a little bit of time here to make something right. And, you know, over the course of many, many years, and I've seen this before in sports and life, business, whatever, deadlines always spur deals. When you see a deadline, you know you have such and such date at such and such time to make something happen. Usually, something does happen. Sacrifice and compromise. I brought that up yesterday. Whether it's a business relationship or personal relationship, you have to be able to give a little before you take a little. And that's something that both sides here, the Rays and the elected officials, that has to happen or else it will not work. There must be compromise. There must be sacrifices made on both ends. Or else it's not going to happen. And even if you don't like baseball, I think Tampa Bay needs baseball. Tampa Bay needs the Rays. Major League Baseball understands that because the number 11 television market, as we talked about yesterday, and for, 15 years, they don't want baseball to leave here. And baseball and sports, and we talked about this so many times, in light of the recent events, It has a way of bringing people together. So even if you don't like baseball, it's good for the economy. It's great for growing the region. It's great for creating jobs. It's also great for morale, and it's great for unity in the community. For instance, when I was living in New York, I was there when 9/11 took place. The worst disaster, as all of you know, that you can possibly imagine took place. And living there at the time was just a surreal moment for all the wrong reasons. About 10 days later, the very first sporting event that took place after 9/11 was a baseball game at the old Shea Stadium between the Mets and the Braves. I was fortunate enough through a friend of mine to go to that game, and I will never forget it for as long as I live. It's the greatest sporting event that I've ever attended, bar none. I remember walking into the stadium, the heightened security measures. I remember how people were both excited, nervous, sad, afraid, all in one. They were excited, obviously, because it was baseball. It was something to take their minds off of the worst tragedy in the history of this country. I was feeling all those emotions as well. And I remember pregame sitting in my seat with my friend next to me, and there were people in front of me. There were people behind me. There were the fighter jets that were flying overhead doing their patrols because obviously we were still on high alert. The military had a no-fly zone over that New York City area, especially. Shea Stadium is right by the airports, as a lot of you know. A lot of people are nervous. When you hear those jets flying overhead, everyone's looking up, thinking that something was about to happen, that there was going to be another attempt by the terrorists. It was a very paranoid time. Everybody was paranoid. Everybody was obviously on edge. But once the game started, everybody just kind of forgot about what was happening around them, and they were focused on baseball. And Mike Piazza in the 8th inning of that game, with the Mets trailing, hit one of the biggest home runs probably in baseball history at the time, considering the events and everything that was going on. And the roar of the crowd was unlike anything I've ever experienced in my life. So many people were overjoyed. And for a couple of hours, they were able to forget about Ground Zero, the rubble, thousands of innocent people killed, attacked by terrorists, fighter jets overhead, security measures, advanced paranoia, fear, sadness, anger. All of that was put aside because baseball had a way of taking you away from reality, making you forget about the everyday craziness that was happening around us. And baseball's magical like that. And look, football is too. There's no question about it. And the other sports are too. That's what sports does for society. Because even if you don't like sports, even if you don't like baseball, it still has a way of boosting morale. It still has a way of bringing people together. It still has a way of creating that diversion from the everyday craziness that we experience in life. For me, back then, it was 9/11. For us here in Tampa Bay, it was the 2 hurricanes that just occurred. And I'm hoping that we get some sort of hope, some sort of optimism that maybe that we can actually sit down and work all this out so that everybody's happy, because I do believe it's a win-win situation here in Tampa Bay, and I do believe that it can still be salvaged, but it can't move forward unless there's sacrifice and compromise on both ends. And I'm hoping it happens for all of our sakes, honestly. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. We got a big show. Can hardly wait, actually. In about 10 minutes, the lovely and talented Tricia Whitaker will join us. She's stepping away from the Rays television broadcast. She made that announcement the other day on social media, so we're going to ask her about it. She's on deck. She's going to join us in a few. So that will be fun. So we'll talk to her at 3:30. At 3:45, we'll be constructing a W. Thursday Night Football. What is it, Week 12, Chris Mathis of the NFL?
Yeah, I know. Season's flying by, man. Upset by it. Upset by it.
The Browns against the Steelers. You know what that means, right?
How are y'all doing?
Good, Jameis.
Yeah, that too. And grab your hard hat, right? And your hammer, Tom.
Yeah, grab your hard
that
hat.
W.
Without question. So we'll be doing that at 3:45. At 4:05, we'll talk Bucks and NFL. Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times, TampaBay.com. Buccaneers and the Giants Sunday at MetLife Stadium. So which one of these injured players will be back? And how big of a concern is, Tommy Two-Tone or Eggplant Parmesan or whatever his name is? Pasta fagioli, what's the matter with you? Lasagna, Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito. Boy, I can tell Todd Bowles is up late at night game planning for Tommy DeVito. We'll talk to Rick Stroud at 4:05. At 5:05, our weekly visit with USF head coach Alex Golesh coming off a record-setting performance last week. The Bulls are a victory away from being bowl eligible. They got Tulsa on Saturday. They should be able to do it then. But we'll talk to Coach Golesh about all that. We got Let It Ride at 5:30. I can hardly wait for Let It Ride. By the way, Chris Mathis, I do have a parlay going.
Oh, okay. All right.
Based on, centered around tonight's Thursday night game between Jameis Winston and the Browns against the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin, who are red hot, by the way. And I think that this one's got a good shot. I do.
You want to save it for Let It Ride or when we construct that W?
I will save it for, I might give you a couple of legs.
Okay. All right, let's do that.
At 3:45.
Okay.
Because it's like five. Five things have to happen. It's like a 5-leg parlay. But I feel good about it. I do.
I might partake in it. Who knows? I might.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I mean, you've done pretty well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
so.
I'm all about the money, as you know. Where's my money, bitch? So we're going to get into that coming up. Let it ride. And look, maybe we can make you guys some money. That's what we do here. We provide a public service. We're all about the community here. All right, we'll take your calls and texts. When we come back on the other side, more race conversation. As if this offseason could not be any worse, from the hurricane ripping up the Trop and the failed stadium deal and the pissing match between the team and elected officials. And then we get word that this young lady is now stepping away from the TV broadcasts. I'm not happy. I'm sad. So is Chris Mathis. So is all of you. So why is she doing that? And what's in her near future? We'll talk to Tricia Whitaker, the lovely and talented one.
Courtesy of Moss Nissan, only on WDAE.
All right, welcome back. The Drive with yours truly, Tom Krasnicki, on this lovely Thursday. Oh, my gosh, it's so beautiful out. It's in the 40s and 50s this morning. Highs won't get out of the 60s. This is beautiful mid-November weather here in the Tampa Bay area. It's about the only thing that's going well right now when it comes to our baseball team. Yeah, Eric Neander, you got that right. Hurricane ripping up the Trop, and then, this back and forth pissing match with the Rays and elected officials about the stadium. We had Chris Ladvala on the show yesterday. In case you missed it, 953WDA.com. Check it out there. The full interview is there. The Rays have said that they are open to having discussions with anybody and everybody, and that includes the commission. Lock yourselves in a room and don't come out of there until you have an agreement. Do it now. I know the St. Pete City Council is meeting today to talk about this issue as well, and we'll keep you updated there. And as if it couldn't get any worse, then we get the news 2 days ago that Tricia Whitaker, who has been just an absolute godsend when it comes to the Rays television broadcast, has decided that she is moving on as well. And we go to the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. And she's with us here on the show today. Tricia Whitaker joins me here on The Drive. How are you?
Hi, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing great. And this is sad news. I'm sad. Everybody is sad. I can speak for everybody here in Tampa Bay, Tricia, that we are sad that you're stepping away.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. You guys are always so supportive of me since day one, and I loved it there. I felt welcomed with open arms when I got there. That's truly one of the things about the place that made me so happy. You guys are so welcoming, and I cherish literally every single second of it.
We loved having you here. So you made the announcement on your social media platform. So tell us what's going on with you. Why did you do it?
Yeah, so it's definitely bittersweet. I wanted people to hear that from me. I didn't want all of a sudden spring training to come around and I'm just not there. I loved the Rays organization. I loved the guys that I was on air with every single day. BA, Rich, Ryan, Doug, Dwayne, they were wonderful. I think you get to the point, though, where you want to prioritize things in life that matter the most. And I love doing Apple TV on Friday nights. And I had to miss some games when I was with the Rays. I had to miss some Apple TV games. There was definitely some disagreement with how many games I would work for Bally and how many games I would work for Apple. But we made it work. And I really want to be with Apple every Friday this season. And they have such a good, supportive production crew. And that makes all the difference to me. And that's important to me. It really, really is. Mm-hmm. It becomes quality of life at a certain point,
Absolutely.
And I've got a lot of nieces and nephews, and, like I said, I love the Rays, the team. I got so many wonderful messages today. I was on the phone with Kevin Cash for a while today, and it was just such a good conversation with him. I worked with him for 6 seasons, and it was just kind of him to reach out and, tell me how much he appreciated me for 6 seasons and for me to tell him that. I spoke with, Rays pitching coach Kyle Snyder a little bit, and he and I were together for 6 seasons too, working together, and he was just so kind. And I'm talking to a lot of the players too, I even heard from former players, talked to Glass now and Fairbanks and everybody, and that's how you know that you built something special there. Is when, the front office is reaching out to me today, the coaches, everybody. And I really appreciated the team. I appreciated the guys I was on air with, for sure. And so it was hard. It was definitely hard, but it's the right thing.
Tricia Whitaker is with us here, and you also mentioned that you've got some very happy life changes. Now, you don't have to talk about that here. That's obviously your personal business, but if you want to talk about that here, you can absolutely lay it on me, and I won't think a second of it.
Oh, you're such a good. You know what? It's fun when a fellow interviewer interviews a fellow interviewer, because you're like, yeah, I know what you want me to say. But, very happy life changes. Very happy. And maybe at a later date I'll go into that, but I don't think now is the time for that. But I will say, I love my students, and I teach at Indiana University every off season, and this does give me an opportunity to be there a little bit more too, and perhaps do other things. I've always loved college basketball. That's definitely something that could be on the horizon, and I've loved a lot of different things. So you'll just have to stay tuned for a little bit more, and we'll see.
Well, like yourself,
how's that tease for you? Huh?
That is perfect. That's why I think you've got a future in this broadcasting business.
Do ya?
Tricia Whitaker is with me here. All right, so a couple of questions for you. Where were you, and you might have been hunkered down somewhere, I don't know, you're about to tell us, when you first saw the images of Hurricane Milton ripping up Tropicana Field?
Ooh, man. I still have trouble talking about that without getting upset because, oh man, that just hurt your heart. I know that people make the Trop the brunt of a lot of jokes, and I understand, but that place was a baseball home for so long, and that's the first baseball home I ever had. And you got to understand, that's the first baseball home a lot of people had, and so many memories are made there. I was at my aunt's house. And I had evacuated because I was in a flood zone, and my car got flooded, and it was just bad. And everybody else lost so much, But I was in West Palm Beach, and I was watching CNN, and all of a sudden I look up and I go, that guy's standing right outside of my apartment building in downtown St. Pete, and oh my God, that crane just fell 100 feet from my bedroom window. And then they pan over and they show the Trop, and I'm like, my hands were in my face, and I was just like, I can't watch this. And I just started crying because I'm like, this isn't happening. This can't get worse. We already know the stadium issues going on for the Rays, and it just broke my heart. And then I got back and I was walking past the Trop because I live downtown. And oh my gosh, it just looked like a war zone. And so many of my friends lost their houses and everything in it. And you really learn in that moment who's there for you. You learn who is there for you with action and not just words. And man, that was hard to see. I mean, I get choked up talking about it, but yeah, that was hard.
It's very, very hard. And I think all of us had that same reaction. And, we're in Feather Sound, and we're on the 6th floor. And from right where I'm sitting, I can look out of the window of the studio. And we have a big window here. I can see the Trop from here. So seeing it in person, it will just send chills up your spine as well. And I don't know what the future is. The Rays obviously have made that decision to play at Steinbrenner Field. What did you make of that, by the way?
Well, I mean, what other options? You had to go with the best option, right? And that option does keep it in Tampa and in the area. The other option I think I saw floated around was Clearwater and the Phillies, and that where else were they supposed to go? This is a tragedy, this is just a disaster with the stadium being destroyed, and so I think that they went with the best choice. They didn't have much other choice, and, that's what they have to do, and that's where they'll be. And I hope that Rays fans show up for them.
I hope so, too, and I think they will, without question. Gut feeling, what do you think happens in a couple of years? I think that they're going to find a way. They're going to stay here. I don't think Major League Baseball wants them to leave here. Obviously, you've had a lot of conversations with players and front office staff and everything else. So what's your gut telling you?
Oh, man, that's a loaded question. I don't know. I mean, I know being in that organization that they want to stay there. I know that. I've seen that work that they've put in. Tireless work. And the Tampa Bay fans deserve a baseball team.
100%.
After hearing some of the things that's going on, I don't know what my gut says. It makes me worried. Because it doesn't sound like a happy marriage right now. And it's just concerning. And I hope that for Rays fans' sake, that they can find a way, because those fans, I know people say people don't show up to the Trop. I get it. But those fans that the Rays have, oh my gosh, They're wonderful people. They flooded my Twitter yesterday and today, and it just keeps coming. They are wonderful people, and so my heart would really, really, really hurt to see the Rays not there. But my gut feeling right now is just that they've got to sort this out, and if those two sides can't, I don't see it happening, but if they can, that's so good for the community. And I know after being with that team for so long, you know, watching some of the people who were core pieces to this project, how much they care about that community. And I know that care is there. But, man, watching this, all the city council stuff, and it does leave a bad feeling in your stomach. It really does.
It sure does. And I had Chris Latvala on yesterday, Pinellas County Commissioner. He's been opposed to the deal. And, you know, we've had contact with the Rays. And my solution is, you know, you lock yourselves in a room, say what you got to say, get it off your chest. There's a lot of bruised egos and pride and everything else. But just like any other relationship, whether it's business relationship or personally, there needs to be some sacrifice and compromise. You have to give a little. It just can't be a one-way street.
You know, one of my favorite quotes in life is that pride is concerned with who is right and humility is concerned with what is right. And I think if you work with that in mind, then you can get a lot done. But like you said, that might not be the case. And that's a very difficult place to be. And, you know, I just hope that for everybody, they can work it out, because I just know some people who would be devastated. All of my coworkers, they live in the area, they raise their kids there. And some of them, like Doug Wechter, he was raised there. I mean, you don't just lose a team. You lose memories that date back to 1998. I mean, I know people are like, oh, they haven't been around that long. That's an entire lifetime for some people. You have kids who only know the Rays as their favorite team. I mean, that affects so much in the community, and you do hope, you know, that they can work it out for those people because they deserve it.
Amen. Baseball is great for everybody. Even if you don't like sports, don't like baseball, it creates jobs, it helps the economy, and it's a fabric of society. It brings people together, and you know, sports has that way of creating the diversion from the everyday craziness that is life. So let me
It does, and yeah.
I'll get you out on this. I know you're a big Indiana alum. Indiana, Ohio State, Saturday. I know you're excited. Look at you. You're so giddy.
You know what's so funny is I was on the phone with Kevin Cash earlier today, just talking to him about, you know, my leaving and moving on. And the first thing he said to me on the phone was, Trish, Indiana. And I was like, yeah. Like, heck yeah. I'm like, we've never been here. It's a fever dream. I'm going to take Indiana all the way on Saturday. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think they're going to win this one. And heck yeah, they're good at football. Like, this is hey, let me tell you something. When I was a student, I covered a season where they went 1-11. 1-11. This is unbelievable to me. I grew up an IU fan, so it's amazing. It's amazing.
It is amazing, and they are one of the great stories of college football. That should be a great one on Saturday. Tricia Whitaker, 6 years on Rays TV. Listen, we want to thank you for your 6 years. We all love you. You know that, and we're anxious to see what's up next for you. Thanks for spending some time with me here today.
You know, let me just say this really quickly, and I'm going to try to say it without crying, but I'm probably not going to be able to. I have loved every single second that I've spent in Tampa, and I have loved the team, and I have loved that community, and all I wanted to do from the beginning was tell stories well. And I just hope that I did that, and I just want to say thank you to everybody for welcoming me with open arms and being so supportive of just this next chapter of my life. And, I mean, it was the best thing I've ever done in my career. It was the best thing I've ever done in my career, was coming to Tampa and working like for that team and everybody with it. So thank you for the support through the years, and thank you so much for just you guys too being so supportive. I just appreciate everything.
We appreciate you, Tricia. We're going to miss you, and we certainly wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. And listen, you're welcome to come back here anytime you want.
I promise. The next time, I promise not to be crying. I'll come back with a smile on my face.
It's okay. You know, everyone comes on this show, and they're always letting their emotions out. So this is almost like therapy.
You bring it out in them. You bring it out in them.
I'm just doing what I do here, Tricia, just like you.
You are. We love it. We love it.
Thank you, Tricia. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Love you guys too. Bye-bye.
Bye. That's Tricia Whitaker. She's awesome. Awesome. She covered this team so gracefully, so passionately, so articulately, and we love her for it. I mean, and I would go to Rays games and I would see she would talk to anybody and everybody, take pictures. Players loved her. Kevin Cash loved her. Everybody loves her. Everybody. And she's very, very talented. She's really good at what she does. Really good. And we're going to miss her. People come on this show and then they spill their guts, you know? They're emotional. She started crying. It's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to let your emotions out. I do it every day. I felt like crying when I left here last night. I can tell you that. 888-546-4620. That was awesome. Text at 82945. A lot of great texts. We're going to miss you, Trish. Tiffany texting in. We love Tricia. We're going to miss her. We're all going to miss her. She is incredible. All right, when we come back, there's a game on tonight. You know who's on.
How are y'all doing?
The Browns, led by Jameis Winston, against the red-hot Pittsburgh Steelers. Who you got? Constructing a W next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
It is The Drive presented by our good friends over at Moss Nissan, where their goal is to never lose your business over price. By the way, I was in contact with Brad Meredith today over at Moss. Tomorrow, Football Friday, live at Moss Nissan in North Tampa on Florida Avenue. I can't wait. By the way, their Black Friday savings are happening all month long. I can't wait to get there tomorrow and see all of the beautiful Nissan vehicles that they have on display. And you can get a great deal right now throughout the month of November. They've got the best selection of new Nissans in the Tampa Bay area. And Chris Mathis, no payments until 2025.
You got that right, Tom. Yeah, it sounds surreal, but that's what they do there at Moss Nissan. They take great care of you. They also have rates as low as 0%, Tom, and pre-owned vehicles priced wholesale to the public.
Absolutely. Also, every purchase comes with the industry-exclusive Moss Care, which I have, by the way. I bought my last two vehicles over at Moss Nissan. Moss Care includes lifetime oil changes, tire rotations, and so much more. My guys, Brandon Cruz and Tony, they always take great care of me at the Tampa location. That's where we're going to be tomorrow. So I'm coming by. I'm going to get my vehicle serviced there. The service department is second to none over at Moss Nissan. So I can't wait for Football Friday tomorrow from Moss Nissan in North Tampa. They also have locations in Brooksville and in Newport Richey. You can also check out their inventory online at mossnissan.com. That's
Powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. Now, back to the Drive with TKras on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Constructing a W, presented by CMK Construction.
And here he is, our guy, Chris Mathis.
All right, Tampa Bay, we've got a little Thursday night football action between the Pittsburgh Steelers and former Buccaneer quarterback Jameis Winston's led Cleveland Browns. They're in Cleveland.
How are y'all doing?
Good, Jameis. Unfortunately, I'm going to be constructing a W for Mike Tomlin and the 8-2 Steelers. They're coming off that big win against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and the Steelers have it going. They're playing complementary football. Russell Wilson is providing that big play element. He can still throw a pretty deep ball. The defense is coming around, although their production when it comes to sacking the quarterback, when you go back and look at the stats, you know, they have 24 sacks in 10 games so far, and that's in the bottom third of the NFL. I mean, a lot of teams, including the Buccaneers have 28 sacks. The Denver Broncos lead the NFL with 39, but the Steelers so far with just 24. But T.J. Watt is always a threat to come up with a 3-sack game and to force Jameis Winston into a couple of errant passes, which you know could always be possible.
And on the flip side, Jameis Winston just has to take care of the football, which is something he struggled to do throughout his career. However, when he does, we know he can be a dangerous quarterback in this league. He can air it out. He can have success. It's just a matter of him feeling like he needs to do too much. If he can try not to do too much, if they can establish a ground game there, which will be tough against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, Jameis Winston should be able to lead this team to a victory at home, snapping this 2-game losing skid.
Now, the Steelers, by the way, have won 5 in a row, but here's an interesting stat. The Cleveland Browns have won 8 straight home games on Thursday Night Football. You believe that? Including 2 in the past 5 years where they've beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, but they didn't have Jameis Winston then.
Jameis Winston. Constructing a W presented by CMK Construction. Proudly serving Tampa Bay and Sarasota communities. Call them today, 813-321-4426, or online, cmkconstructioninc.com. Together, we'll make tomorrow brighter. You know, Ronnie Lane, there used to be a sound drop, and I don't know if it's in the system where Ronnie referred to him as Jameis Williams.
No, I tried to find that whenever he was still on the show. I would try to find it. Just
not there?
Couldn't find it. No.
Oh, jeez.
How are y'all doing?
Good, Jameis. Best of luck tonight, buddy. I'm going to reveal, we're at a time in this segment, my parlay on tonight's game coming up a little bit later on during Let It Ride. Also, Alex Golesh is coming up at 5:05. When we come back, 1 hour down, 3 more hours to go. Buccaneers are off the bye week. They've got the Giants and Tommy DeVito Sunday up at MetLife. Which of these injured players will return on Sunday? And can the Buccaneers make a run? Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times, TampaBay.com will join me next.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
It is The Drive, ladies and gentlemen, and we just talked about them. My guys over at CMK Construction, the kitchen and bath experts, they sponsor Constructing a W. And in the aftermath of the storms, they're looking to give you a helping hand. So whether you're looking to completely rebuild or retouch up some places or remodel your kitchen or bathroom, my guys over at CMK Construction can help you do it. They've been at this for 20 years. Manny and Courtney are great people. Luxury products, quality install, and they have been recognized for their fine work. 4 years in a row, voted the #1 kitchen and bathroom remodeling company, according to readers of the Tampa Bay Times, TampaBay.com. They're proudly serving Tampa Bay and Sarasota communities. So give them a call, 813-321-4426. That's 813-321-4426. Or hit them up online, CMK Construction.
It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Hopefully, we still, we just don't know what his true availability will be if he is, and obviously we'll gain some attention from the defense and understand maybe we get played a little bit similar to how people were playing us when he was going. So it's something we just need to be ready for, have a plan for. Love him.
We love him, too. That's Buccaneer offensive coordinator Liam Cohen talking about maybe the return of Mike Evans back from that hamstring injury. The Buccaneers are 4-6. They're coming off the bye, and on Sunday, they'll take on, what's his face there? Spaghetti and meatballs. What do they call him? Tommy Chicken Parmesan, Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito, and the new... What?
You insulted him a little bit.
Tommy DeVito, Tommy D. That was the guy in Goodfellas. That was Joe Pesci's character who got shot. Henry Hill. The Buccaneers will take on Jimmy Conway and the New York Football Giants in the shadows of the swamp up at MetLife Stadium. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. Welcome back. 4:05 on your ride home. The Drive with TKras, presented by Moss Nissan. Chris Mathis on the other side. More of your calls and texts coming up. That tearful goodbye from Tricia Whitaker just hits me right to my very soul, Chris Mathis. Everyone just comes on this show and just kind of pours their hearts out. Right?
Yeah, let's see what Rick's got in store for us right here.
I don't know. That's a tough act to follow. Alex Golesh is also coming up later and also let a ride. And let's do that. Let's talk more Bucs in NFL because he's with us right now. The Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. Rick Stroud also coming off the bye, refreshed and recharged. Rick from the Tampa Bay Times at tampabay.com. How are you, my man?
You're not going to get me to cry, Tom. You're not going to get me to cry.
Did you?
I cry before the interview, usually.
Everyone usually cries when they listen to this show. So did you recalibrate just like Todd Bowles during the bye?
Oh, I recalibrated all the way to Denver. Yeah, I did. I went up a mountain. I skied down the mountain. I didn't fall. It was great. No, I'm recalibrated and not as injured as this Buccaneer team is right now.
Well, the good news is that according to the injury report, which just came out, you just heard Liam Cohen talking about Mike Evans. Mike has been out with that hamstring injury, limited yesterday, upgraded to full today. So it looks like, Rick, the Bucs will get their big playmaker back on Sunday, right?
Yeah, that's huge, and we'll see what he can do. I mean, I think you got to be smart as a play caller, right? To maybe not run him on too many go routes in a row. But listen, they've missed him, and he really is the guy the offense has always run through. And I think it also helps too because it's a little more predictable how the opposing defense is going to play. They're going to double Mike. If you move him around, you're going to get certain coverages. That should supposedly help some of their other, receivers and targets. So, and he just brings, so much energy. And he's won a lot of football games. He's had good games against the Giants his entire career. So you can't understate it, but it certainly doesn't guarantee them anything.
It doesn't, but I tell you what, now you got to play the Bucs differently because you have Mike out there, and he attracts a lot of attention, and that will free up maybe the running game. That'll free up Cade Otton, maybe the other receivers on the other side. I mean, he's a game changer.
No, absolutely he is. And the Giants have a very good defensive front. I think they're second in the league in sacks. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I think they give up the most yards per carry in the league, like 5.2. So this Buccaneer team has shown some ability to run the football. If they can stay balanced, throw the ball when they want to on schedule, now you can slow down that pass rush a little bit. So there's no question that they've missed him. And I think Liam Cohen's done an excellent job of keeping them in games. They haven't won any. But he's done a good job of putting points on the board. So maybe Mike, just seeing him in the huddle and on the field is going to be a big lift for them.
Without question, Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times, TampaBay.com's with me. We're talking Buccaneer football here on The Drive. So, Rick, 7 games left. Now, talking about Mike Evans, he's got 335 receiving yards. So, my math, which has never been great, 665 yards is what Mike needs over the last 7 games. That's an average of 95 yards a game. That's attainable. I think he can still do that. So, do you think Mike Evans gets to 1,000 yards?
You know, it's hard to bet against somebody that's, done it every single year of his career. Now, this will be, I think maybe the most games he's missed, certainly in a row. It's a heavy lift to try to get close to 100 yards a game, but he is capable of it. He's had 150-yard games before. It's going to take a couple of big games in there somewhere. If you get down to, the last couple games against Carolina and the Saints, and he needs 200 or 300 yards, I think it happens, So it's a carrot out there. It's not going to be the focus. You can't go into the game saying, hey, we got to make sure we get Mike 100 yards if we do anything. But let's be honest. I mean, with no Chris Godwin, he's going to be targeted more and more. They're going to move him around. They can move him in the slot. There's a lot of things they can do to try to create, space for him. And they have to make it a big part of their game plan early. I think with a player like Mike, the sooner you get him involved, we saw about 3 games in a row where the first play was a pass, to Mike Evans to get him going, get him juiced up. And I would not be surprised if the first play isn't a throw to Mike Evans on Sunday. And but yeah, I mean, look, he's chasing ghosts right now, right? Jerry Rice, he's tied with for the most consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. The reason why Jerry didn't get 11, by the way, is because the Buccaneers took him out right here at Raymond James Stadium the start of the 97 season, I think.
There you go. And Rick is all over that as well. And you make a great point about Mike. And the thing about Mike is he needs to be engaged early. When you get him involved early, he's focused, obviously. The confidence is always there. And you get him going early, and he can do some great things. So I think he still has a shot. Now, looking at this injury report, Rick, I think there's some good news, there's some bad news. Now, in the secondary, the good news is that Jamel Dean looks like he's back. He said the other day that he's a player now, not a coach, so they're going to need him back there. Let's hope he plays like a player, not like a coach. But they need him out there because Zion McCollum hasn't practiced this week. And Tyke Smith, who practiced a little bit yesterday, didn't practice at all today. What does that mean?
Well, I don't know. Tyke was set to play their last game, and then I guess towards the end of the week we have all these injuries. I don't understand. I guess he banged knees or something. This could be one of those deals where, he was limited on Wednesday, and I haven't talked to anybody, so I'm just speculating. It either got worse or it was good enough to where you wanted to give him time to recover. But I have no clue, and it's sad because really Tyke Smith, and if you look at the whole secondary, has been their best player. He's been their most consistent guy. He's been their playmaker as a rookie. He's probably their best guy in coverage many times. And I, having said that, they've gotten by without him, but you really need all hands on deck at this point. And so let's see what he does Friday. If he's out there on a limited basis on Friday, I would expect him to try to go. But I really, you don't like to see guys heading down, going from limited to did not practice. That's not the direction you're looking for.
Without question. And you saw Tristan Wirfs out there. He had the big, bulky knee brace on his right knee. I saw him moving around in the footage that you had and that Greg Allman had. He didn't look like he was moving too fluidly. It looks like he's going to miss this game, right?
Well, you would think so, but this is another one of those deals where I know offensive linemen and they hate not to play, and they're the toughest guys on the team. I think Tristan knows how many days he has before the game. And I think he's kind of planning accordingly. Like I believe that he's trying to do a little bit more each day. And so, he was getting treatment. We talked to him a little bit after practice. And, I think the biggest thing is he's relieved that it's not more serious than it looked. He said, these tree trunks are still undefeated. He hasn't had, knock on wood, any serious injuries to his legs. And, But, that's going to be one really where you get to Sunday and about 10:30, 11 o'clock, he goes out there and see how it feels that day. And if he says he can go, I think he'll go. They have to listen to him. It's easy to say, well, you got 7 games. You don't want to play him too soon, and then you lose him for the rest of it. That's all well and good. But are you sure you're going to win this game? I mean, you got to win every game. You can't really, pick and choose sort of, what's the best game to bring him back, because you don't know what's going to be left. I mean, they have Dexter Lawrence. They've got some really good pass rushers up front. And Brian Burns is very, very good. So I think they're second in the league in sacks.
They are.
If you don't play him and he wrecks the game and gets Baker Mayfield hurt, well, were you better off not playing Tristan Wirfs? So I would not rule him out by any means, and I think it's going to come right down to maybe an hour or so before the game before we know. And listen, my experience with these guys is if they can go, they go.
Yeah, look, I mean, no one could ever question his toughness. That turf up there at MetLife, I don't trust it as well, so that's something else that the Buccaneers have to factor into the equation. We're talking about it, Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times, TampaBay.com. So the other day, Rick, I want you to listen to this because I thought this was interesting. Bucs head coach Todd Bowles talking about the opposing quarterback this week. Hit it, Chris.
He's very good in the pocket as far as escaping blitzes and pressures. He can run around. He can throw the deep ball. He's very good seeing the short stuff come and seeing blitzes come, and he's very good getting out of harm's way. So he's going to be something to deal with.
Now, was he talking about Tommy DeVito or Josh Allen there? I don't know. He's got all this mobility. He can throw it down the field. Great athleticism. I love Todd.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the way their defense is played, there isn't anybody that they shouldn't fear at quarterback, to be honest with you. I mean, and I mean that respectfully. It doesn't sound very respectful. But when you're, during this 1-5 stretch, let's be honest, Tom, they're I think 32nd in total yards and 31st in passing yard, 31st in passer rating. I mean, it's bad, right? It's historically bad. Tommy DeVito, he's 3-3 as a starter. I think he won his first 3 games. We saw his agent everywhere, Tommy Cutlets and all of that. But he's a cult favorite up there. There's some flavor up there in New York that he can relate to, and so I think he'll be well received. We know that their quarterback hasn't exactly worked out with Daniel Jones. I think Drew Lock's probably the most pissed off guy in New York right now. It's like, hey, what about me? But it will be a show, I think. I mean, I really do believe that he'll give them some juice. He always has, and they've struggled at times with guys that can run and throw. But listen, this is the New York Giants. You're playing what was their number 3 quarterback. They're desperate to win a game. So are you. You have to get this game. I don't care, if they put, I don't know, Manning back there if they have to. I mean, it doesn't
Sims.
matter. Yeah, there you go. Phil Sims. I was trying to see how far back do I go, right? Why A. Tittle? It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's like, you have to win this game if Tarkenton rolls out there. You got to find a way to win. And defensively, there's some guys like Antoine Winfield Jr. that have to start playing better. They have to start tackling. They have to start making some big plays, some splash plays, taking the ball away. That's something this team hasn't done. Their last interception, Tom, was in New Orleans. That was the second hurricane ago. So it's been a while, and I think that's, really to be concerned about Tommy DeVito, you got to be concerned about it. They're going to play 3 backup quarterbacks in these next 7 weeks, and they got to beat all of them.
Absolutely. And the Giants, by the way, one of 2 teams in the NFL that has yet to win a game at home. They're 0-5 at home, and the Cowboys are 0-5 at home. Those are the only 2 teams. So you don't want to be that first team, Rick.
No, you don't. And it's unlikely that they would go winless at home, either of those organizations. And, in fact, they won't because they got to play each other on Thanksgiving Day. So somebody's going to maybe – well, they could go winless. I guess Dallas could lose that one. But we'll see. It's time. If this team's going to make a run, like, seriously, there's no wiggle room here. If you looked at the schedule, you say, okay, the Chargers are probably better. That's one that they're not going to be favored in. But it's the only team with a winning record left.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you're a good football team, and they think they are still, and the injuries have been the story this year, you've got Mike Evans back. Tristan Wirfs is kind of nicked up. That's bad. But it doesn't matter. There's no excuses now. You should be better than the teams you're playing most weeks until the end of the season, and you have to come out with a W if you got any chance to think you're going to play in the postseason.
I'll get you on this. You just mentioned two things that I had highlighted that I was going to ask you about. Two things has to happen on the defensive side for the Bucs. One, they must tackle better. The tackling has been atrocious. And two, and Rick, you and I talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago. Antoine Winfield Jr., and I don't know if it's his foot, and he's probably not going to make any excuses, but he needs to be the Antoine Winfield Jr. that we saw last year at a Pro Bowl type of all-pro level, and he needs to step it up a couple notches if this Bucs defense is going to have to get back on track, right?
Yeah, look, it's unfortunate he missed all that time. After the season opener, he got injured, but they've won games without him, and he's been back now for a while. When he first came back, he had to scoop and score for a touchdown. But honest to goodness, that's the only play I can remember. He's had a sack. Pretty much everything else, I think 2 passes defense. But what we've seen him doing is take bad angles, to make tackles. Now, one-on-one tackles aren't automatic in this league. You need more guys, more hats to the football. So as a team, they got to do that better. But all I know is that, if you're the highest paid, not just safety, the highest paid defensive back in the league, and you're all pro, 2 things that he manifested last year before the season, he needs to manifest a few big plays down the stretch here. And I talked to Antoine, and he's not afraid of where he's at right now. He said to us that he, in this situation, you might say, well, don't try to do too much, right? Don't go overboard because you got to make. He said, no. The only way I know how to play is to be more aggressive. I have to go out there and be more aggressive and try to make more plays than I've been making. And so I expect him. He's got to show up, and it's got to start really Sunday. It doesn't matter. Again, if you're out there in the National Football League, they assume you're going to play at a high level or the highest level, possible. And Antoine Winfield Jr. has a lot of making up to do in terms of playmaking. He just hasn't done it. So let's see what he can do. But I know it bothers him, and it's got not just him. Okay, Jordan Whitehead's name hadn't been called out very much lately either. And that was supposed to be that team was supposed to be Batman and Robin, and it just hasn't happened back there. Now it would help if you got some pressure on a quarterback for a change. All that stuff works in concert, but this should be a big week for Antoine Winfield Jr. He's got an opportunity with this quarterback to make some plays.
He sure does. All right, he's Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times. You can read him at tampabay.com. You can listen to him Sunday, 9 a.m. on The Insider Show with Scott Reynolds and Pat Donovan. And Rick will also be on with me inside the locker room during countdown to kickoff. He's a very busy man, Rick. I'm glad that you made it back in one piece from your skiing expedition, and I will see you on Sunday, my friend.
And let it be known you didn't make me cry, Tom. You did not make me cry.
Everybody cries when they listen to this show. All right, Rick, I'll see you on Sunday. He's a wise guy. Boy, oh boy. Everyone's got jokes. People come on here and they kind of spill their guts. Everyone comes on here and they spill their guts.
That's what we're here for, though. An escape for everybody, Tom.
And you know who's next to spill their guts? Remember that guy a couple weeks ago when I asked him about Tom Herman? Alex Golesh. He opened up. People tend to open up around me. I don't know. Am I the modern day version of Larry King? Like everyone comes on this show and they start crying. Who's the guy? Roy Firestone used to do that interview show. That was the big joke on Jerry Maguire. Like everyone goes on that show and they they bare their soul and they start crying and they start breaking down and they get emotional. What am I, Roy Firestone? What am I, Larry King?
You're something, man.
What am I, Larry King? Palm Harbor, Florida. Hello. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. Alex Golesh will join me at 505. USF needs one more victory to become bowl eligible. Will it happen on Saturday against Tulsa? It better. Plus, we got Let It Ride at 5:30. We'll take you up until 7 o'clock. All right, when we come back, the latest on the Rays Stadium fiasco. The MLB commissioner is now weighing in on the subject. What is he saying about it? Tell you about it next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
On this beautiful Thursday out there, man, is it gorgeous. Just be careful on the roadways because an injury accident can happen to anyone at any time. It happened to yours truly. I'm still feeling the effects. Thankfully, I've got the gang of Catania and Catania in my corner, the personal injury law firm that's been doing their thing for 30 years. They don't get paid unless you get paid. Almost $1 billion has been successfully recovered by my guys for injury victims just like you. So they're protecting my rights. They'll protect your rights as well. So if you or someone you love has been involved in an injury accident, product liability, medical malpractice, God forbid, wrongful death in your family, call the people that have gotten it done for the last 3 decades, Catania and Catania. A free evaluation of your case can be had at 813-222-8545. That's 813-222-8545. Or go online, CataniaandCatania.com to get that free
The Rude Air Conditioning Studios, the home for Team Tampa Bay over 20 years and counting. 95.3 WDAE and the mighty AM 620. Powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. Now, back to the Drive with TKras on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
He's a bum.
4:49 on your ride home on this beautiful Thursday in Tampa Bay. What a gorgeous day outside. For some of you shut-ins, some of you people who are in seclusion, recluses, like, get out and enjoy yourselves. Do something instead of hanging around the text platform, again, embarrassing yourself, showing everybody just what a complete idiot you are. Steve in Tampa, I can't take this show anymore. I'm switching to Hannah. Good. Get out. Bye, Felicia. Take your ass somewhere else. Move your little chicken asses out of here.
Come on, get out of here.
I was watching Rocky last night. Where Rocky's training and the two girls come up. Hey, can we get your autograph? And then Mick gets so angry. Get out of here. Don't you come in here when I'm doing my training. Move your little chicken asses out of here. And then he turns to Rocky. He goes, and you lay off that pet shop dame. Women weaken legs. Remember that. I
should have broke your thumb.
Remember that line, Chris Mathis.
All right, I will. I'll remember that line, Tom.
Well, I really like this girl, you know.
Hey, Baldy.
Well, then let her train you. 888-546-4620. All right, Commissioner Rob Manfred, boy, if there's a guy who reminds me of Gazzo from Rocky, it's Rob Manfred. He's like a leg breaker. Jeez. So he was asked yesterday about the Rays and, standard operating procedure. He starts talking about, well, it's a tough situation down there. Yeah. Shut up. If you're not going to be part of the problem, you need to be part of the solution. So Rob Manfred says, we're committed to the fans of Tampa Bay. That was his big quote. Quote, we're committed to the fans in Tampa Bay. I think given all that's happened in that market, we're focused on our franchise in Tampa Bay right now. All right, you need to be more focused. You need to come forward. You know what? Put some money on the table, too, while you're at it. It's easy to stand up there in front of a podium and, just spout off just like sound bites. But I need more action. Less words, more action, please. And then he goes on to say, quote, there's a lot of uncertainty with respect to the situation in Tampa. He was speaking at the quarterly owners meetings in New York. Imagine that. Much of that uncertainty we just don't control. We need to let the government officials in Tampa Bay sort out where they are in a variety of issues. I understand the delay given the damage that was caused and suffered down there. We're just going to have to wait for some of that uncertainty to resolve itself. And as for the additional costs the Rays cited for the new stadium, he said financial issues are financial issues. That's a brilliant quote, by the way, by Gazzo, a.k.a. Rob Manfred. You got to be kidding me. Now, the estimated costs to repair the Trop, $56 million. So the breaking news, in case you're just joining us, the St. Pete City Council has voted 4-3 to provide about $23 million, $23.7 million, in fact, to repair the roof at the Trop. And they still have to vote on the financing for the bonds for the new stadium today. I don't know how that's going to happen. But Rays President Brian Auld is at that city council meeting, and there are some remarks being made by him to them. So we're going to give you those remarks as soon as we get it. I know Ken Welsh is there, and we know what the historic gas plant district means to him. It's been a passion of his. It's a mission of his to see this project all the way through. But the members at around 4:15, about 30 minutes ago, they voted 4-3 to approve $23.7 million to repair the roof. Obviously, it was a very close vote. The 4 members who voted and favored the spending argued that based on the city's landlord-tenant agreement with the Rays, they had no choice but to move forward. They also cited a desire to get the stadium's 4,000 full and part-time employees back to work. And that's exactly right. So any landlord-tenant type of arrangement, the city of St. Pete, they're the landlord. The Rays are the tenant. So something goes wrong with the house, if you're renting, it's up to the landlord to fix it. And that's no different here in this case. Let's see. The decision was made, blah, 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 blah. Tampa Bay Times put out an article. I know insurance is supposed to cover some of it. I'm just wondering if the insurance and the federal assistance is covering the rest, and then the 23.7, rounds out the 56 or 57 million. I think it's going to be more than that to repair the trop. That's what I'm a little unclear on, and we're going to get more on that as information becomes available. But apparently the St. Pete City Council is also going to be voting on their bonds. We know the Pinellas County Commission has postponed the bond vote until December 17. The Rays have already said, well, the deal is dead because you delayed it and pushed everything back. Now we can't move forward because it's going to cost more money. Come on. All right, 2 hours down. I know it's a lot of information for you to digest. We got 2 more hours to go. Coming up, a little Let It Ride action. The Lightning are in action tonight on the road. We're going to get into them. Plus, there's a Thursday night game out of the AFC North. Jameis and the Browns against Mike Tomlin's Pittsburgh Steelers, who are red hot, winners of 5 in a row. We've got Let It Ride. More football on the way next. The USF Bulls are 1 win away from being bowl eligible. Can they make it happen this weekend? Our weekly visit with USF football coach Alex Golesh. That is coming up next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Someone in the text platform was just asking me about Green Tech Roofing and Solar. They are the #1 roofing solution in Tampa Bay. And this person was texting, hey, I made an appointment with Green Tech. What can you tell me about them? I texted back, look, they're awesome. They repaired my damage from Hurricane Milton over on my house with my roof and my soffit issues. They're great. They'll do a great job for you, and you need to get your home prepared for the holidays, and you can do that through Green Tech, a locally owned, licensed, and trusted operator by the Tampa Bay community. And beware of those people who go knocking on doors, door to door, those out-of-market companies taking advantage of residents. Don't fall for that. Go for Green Tech. They're proven. They get results. They also do residential and commercial, over 400 5-star reviews. And depending upon the size of your home, Green Tech can have your roof completed in a single day, and they'll take care of all of that cleanup for you. So give them a call. Go on to their website, by the way. That might be the easiest thing to do. Go to greentechroofing.com to schedule your free roof inspection today.
Voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. Welcome back. 5:04 on your ride home on this Let It Ride Thursday. What a beautiful day. It's football weather out there. It's in the 60s. You got a chill in the air. Middle of November. This is football type of weather. It's the drive with TKras. Tom Krasnicki with you, taking you up until 7 o'clock. We're presented by Moss Nissan. Chris Mathis is on the other side. We'll get to some of your calls, I promise, at some point at 888-546-4620. Text at 82945 on the Bartow 4DA text platform. We've got Let It Ride. That is coming up at the bottom of the hour. But we've got plenty of football to talk about. There's a Thursday night game on tonight with the Steelers taking on the Browns. And we've got college football taking place this weekend, too, as we are getting down to it locally. USF, they are right there on the cusp. They're a victory away. They've got 5 wins right now from being bowl eligible. Can it happen this weekend when USF will be home for Tulsa? That will take place Saturday at 3:30. And let's talk to our guy right now, his weekly visit right here on the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. USF football coach Alex Golesh is back with me here on the drive. Coach, what's going on?
Man, I appreciate you having me on. Getting ready for a big one Saturday.
It is a big one because you're a victory away from getting there. You're 5-5. Let's go back to last week first. A dominant win over at Charlotte. And look, first half, it was kind of back and forth. And like we saw at FAU a couple of weeks ago, the second half, you guys just came out and you ran the football. You set a school record. So tell us about what took place during halftime, the kind of adjustments you made, because in the second half, you guys really came out and you asserted yourselves physically.
Yeah, I think more than probably the adjustments, I think offensively, it felt like the tempo kind of started to settle in a little bit. We play fast, and if you can get in a rhythm and stay on the field, you can wear people down. And we kind of felt like, man, if we can just continue to press the gas, running the football, staying ahead of the sticks, we've got a shot to run the ball. I don't know if we felt like we could rush it for 425 yards, but we felt like we can run the ball. And we certainly did it. I think defensively, we adjusted to applying some more pressure, and we came after the quarterback a little bit more and forced 4 turnovers, which I think was really what kind of got the third quarter going. And once you get a little bit of momentum, it was a really good feeling.
It sure was. And look, I'm glad you brought up the defense because that was my next question. The 4 turnovers, the 5 sacks, and Bayer. Talk about your young safety there, your defensive back, 11 tackles. I mean, he was all over the field. And does he provide some of that leadership? Do guys look to him for leadership on the back end?
Yeah, and I think they certainly do. And you're talking about a redshirt freshman that is playing in really his 10th football game. It's kind of the story of a lot of spots that we're at, but certainly he's a young man that spends more time in the film room than anybody else. He puts the time in. He's always been really, really smart. It's really coming together for him. And man, like you said, 11 tackles. It's good when that's your boundary safety making them, and really impressive.
USF head football coach Alex Golesh is with me here on the drive. An impressive win at Charlotte. They've got Tulsa on Saturday. So Byron Brown wasn't able to go, so Bryce Archie was in there. How would you evaluate his game? And look, a quarterback's best friend is a really good running game too, right?
Yeah, there's no question. I think Bryce started off really, really poor. Our first 2 drives, we drove it 46 yards and threw an interception, and then we went 3 and out. Bryce was banged up last week, really spent the entire week banged up and didn't start how you wanted to. And, we kind of started running him a little bit, and it kind of got him going. It's funny when you've got a quarterback that likes to run it. I think Byron was very much the same way. It kind of sets their pads a little bit and gets them settled in. So he didn't start well, but I think as he went, we did did a little bit of quick game, a little bit of stuff to get him going, and then once the run game started working, he had kept us ahead of the sticks with his arm, but kind of relied on the run game for the explosive. So I think as it went, I think he settled in and played really good football, made some really good decisions. Didn't start well, and that's really been the key for us as a football team, Bryce included, is to find a way to start fast, and it's been a huge challenge for us all week.
When you and I talked last week, you felt like Byron Brown was getting closer and closer. Obviously, he wasn't ready last week. Might he be ready for the Tulsa game on Saturday?
Yeah, he is. He's getting closer and closer, and last week we made a decision on Friday that he just wasn't 100%, and really the best gauge of knowing if he's 100% is him, and he's really close. Again, he practiced all week. We'll make a decision probably, honestly, closer to game time. We'll go through warm-ups and see how he feels. They both took reps along with Izzy, and it'll be interesting. It'll be good. I think Bryce is ready to go. If not, but if he is, it'd be nice to get him back out there as well.
USF head football coach Alex Golesh is with me here on The Drive. USF hosting Tulsa Saturday, 3:30 at Ray J. The weather should be spectacular, Coach, and you have an opportunity with one more victory to be bowl eligible. I know your players know about it too, so how do you keep them focused and motivated on the task at hand? Tulsa is struggling a little bit, but what is the focus going into this one on Saturday?
Yeah, Tulsa's struggling. I think so much. I feel like this whole league is full of second-year coaches that are all trying to figure it out, in terms of what their teams can do. They're a team that's had some highs and had some lows. A few weeks ago, beat a really good UTSA team that's been kind of in the same boat trying to get their groove going. And they came back from 17 down to beat them. I don't think it's hard to keep anybody motivated. It's our last game at home. Senior night, it's another opportunity to go play. The bowl game question, I feel like I've answered it all week.
Sure.
We got to get to a point here, and we will get to a point here sooner than later where that's not what you're chasing in November, where you're chasing a conference championship in November. That's where we are right now, and we're in year 2, and we're building, and it certainly would be big to continue to keep playing. I don't think it was ever the goal. I think it's become an expectation, and that's a great first and second step to where we want to go. I think the guys are aware that we certainly need to get to a bowl game. I think they're even more aware that we got to go finish strong, and they're playing confident football right now. They've had a great week of practice. We got to go finish it tomorrow, but it'll be. I don't know that you'll need a whole lot of motivation. We'll line up and go, and it'll be a fun afternoon at Ray J.
And I know one of the problems you're looking to solve, and even in some of your wins, it's coming out of the gate a little bit slow, like you did last week against Charlotte. Obviously, the Navy game, the FAU game before that. So how do you try and get off to a better start and starting to build that momentum really from the opening kickoff?
Yeah, if I had that answer, I would. I'd probably get into a different line of work. It's so fascinating to me how the psychology of all of it, of why and how. I think offensively, there's always a part of it because of what we do and because we're different than most teams. It takes the guys, it takes us a second at times to figure out how they're going to defend us. And so you try to keep it relatively vanilla in terms of what you're doing to get a feel for how people are going to defend you. You end up getting defended very different than what you see on film most of the time. Defensively, I feel like it truly has been for us to get into a rhythm. It's taken a couple of drives, sometimes a half. That's on us as coaches, and I take full responsibility for making sure that we do start fast. We continue to examine why. We continue to examine what exactly it is that happens. I'm so process driven that I'm careful to change our process, but we've gone to a lot of different things in practice to get that part of it going. But I think no matter how much you try to replicate starting fast, we've tried just about everything. I think it's a matter of having a mature football team that understands the importance of every single play and every single drive and coming out, because it's not an effort deal. It's been totally an execution piece, and I'm going to continue to fight to address it, and hopefully Saturday we'll come out guns blazing.
I hope so. It's like the quest for the Holy Grail, and look, by the sound of you, it's you're trying to examine it psychologically, practice habits. You're looking at every conceivable angle, and hopefully, if you can find that winning formula, then you can get this program to the next level, like you keep talking about, the maturation progress and progressing. You want to get from here all the way up to here, right?
There's no question, and that's, I think there really is no shortcuts to that. I think it was part of taking this job was understanding that there's an expectation that you're going to go compete for championships, but there's also an expectation that you're going to do it in a way where it's sustainable. And that's where our approach to this whole thing has been very much to recruit at a high level and develop these guys. Part of that in today's day and age is getting harder and harder, but part of that is retention and getting these guys to go from freshman to sophomore to junior to senior year, because that's the maturation you're looking for. That's where we're in this middle ground of the culture is established, our identity is established. Now it's these guys really taking over the locker room, these guys really setting the expectations inside the locker room. And when it becomes player-driven, that's when we'll be ready to take the next step. We're getting closer and closer, and I think with each week you kind of sense that and you feel that. You're overcoming things like injuries, like early in the year hurricanes, but without making any excuses for it, we've got to continue to grow up really, really quickly. We got to mature really, really quickly, because at the end of the day, you don't want it to cost you games, and that's where we're at. We're at a point where we expect to win every week. Now we've got to go out and start really fast so that we're not making people in the fourth quarter cringe.
And I know on your recruiting trail, you're not only looking for the best players, but you're also looking for leaders, aren't you? Because you're trying to grow this program from the ground up. You're in year 2. How difficult is it, or maybe what kind of traits are you looking for when you're going out and you're recruiting a kid? You're trying to convince him to come to South Florida. And when you look at him and you talk to people around this kid, like, okay, this kid might be special. This kid might be exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah, I think you've got to understand where you are in your program when you're recruiting. And I say that in the context that if you have a program where you're in year 4, 5, 6, and an established culture, an established work ethic, an understanding of how things go, you can take some chances on some guys because you're bringing them into a culture where it's being led from within the locker room. When you are building, which is the really, we're like still in the beginning stages of that. When you're building, what you're bringing into the locker room is absolutely critical in the sense that you have to bring in guys that are going to help you set that culture. And so a lot of that is being honest with guys when you're recruiting them. Like, man, like, here's where we are. Here's why I think you add value, and here's what I need you to do when you get here. And so what you're saying is 100% right. You're looking for guys that are coming from places where they have a really strong high school coach, in the sense that it's a high school coach that demands a lot, that works them really, really hard, that doesn't bend for the elite players. And that's getting harder and harder to find, but that's what you're looking for, because when they get here, they understand what it looks like to work, what it looks like to be process-driven, what it looks like to lead in every imaginable way. And you're looking for guys that are coming from programs where they've won, and they've won at a high level, because at the end of the day, you bring winners in, it's going to drive winning. And so that combination is hard to find in itself, but you also want elite football players.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, that helps.
So you're trying, absolutely, and you're trying to put it together. And I think, through years of doing this, you feel like you know what you want early on in this process, where you're bringing in guys, and you can look at the guys we've brought in There's very, very few that are coming from programs that have not had success or do not have strong high school head coaches. And that's such a big part of it. And you can get lost in this recruiting thing in terms of, man, this kid's really fast or this kid's really big.
Mm-hmm.
Internals will always matter. And in this day and age of college football, the internals will always come out to the forefront because of everything else going on around these guys, where 15 years ago there wasn't anything going on in terms of social media and people grabbing at them and the money that's involved now. So you've got to find the right dudes, and you've got to find the right families that surround these guys. And that's a challenge, but it's also really fun because you get to continue to bring in guys that are going to help build this thing into what you want it to be. But I always tell our guys, and I truly believe this, you recruit your own problems. And so the recruiting piece of it is really, really important.
I know you got to run, but quickly, I'll get you out on this. I know you're a busy guy. Before practice, after practice, do you take a stroll every once in a while and go check out what they're doing with the on-campus stadium? I know it's in its infancy stages, and the shovel just went into the ground, but do you walk by there and you start envisioning what it's going to look like in a couple of years?
So I've got you one better there. My office overlooks our practice facility and our indoor, and I got a direct shot to where it's being built. And literally every day I walk next door. At the office next door is Andrew Warsaw, who's our general manager and chief of staff, and he, from a football side, oversees the project. And I'm like, why are we not there yet? Why are we not here yet? So he's sick of me at this point. But as soon as I get a chance here, I'm going to bring lunch over to those guys, which hopefully would mean that they can work through lunch and accelerate this process a little bit. But all joking aside, man, I get goosebumps thinking about how awesome it's going to be here in just a couple of years. Not just the stadium, but the football operations center is going to be as nice as there is in the country. And I can't wait to see the day when we're playing on our campus and fans are coming to our campus, alums are coming to our campus. And honestly, in a lot of ways, I get goosebumps thinking about the former players that come back, the George Selby's, these guys that helped build it, that come back, and the Matt Grothies, and you can name them. There's so many of them that come back and say, man, I helped build that. I think there's just going to be such a point of pride there, and it'll be such an incredible deal for our campus community and our alums. I stare at it every now and again out my window and just envision how cool it'll be. I feel like Christmas Vacation when he's standing out in the kitchen looking out back like there's a pool there,
Right, yeah. I can't swim, Clark. I know that, Eddie.
That's it. That's it.
Alex Golesh, I appreciate our weekly visits. Good luck Saturday against Tulsa, and I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you so much. Go Bulls. I appreciate it.
Go Bulls. We appreciate you. That's Coach Alex Golesh. I love it. A little movie quote. That's my guy right there. That's my guy, Chris Mathis.
Yeah, you grow to love him that much more each and every conversation,
Each and every conversation, it's like that conversation went completely way off the beaten path. Because I come in with questions, and boy, oh boy, we started talking about what is he looking for and the kind of recruits, and then the follow-up question, and he went into great detail into his plan. He said, look, it's very complicated right now, obviously, with social media. This is the kind of player that we're looking for from successful programs. Are you a leader? Are you willing to are you willing to do whatever it takes to be great? I think he's looking to recruit leaders first to establish that culture that he's building. And then you heard him say when you're into 4, 5, 6 of your program, that's when you start taking some chances on some guys who are really talented, but, there could be some question marks. Look, he's looking for really good football players too. Let's be honest. Really enlightening conversation. And the dude happened to stick in a movie quote too. Love Alex Golesh. I think USF's going places with them. They're kind of up and down. They're 5-5, 3-3 in the conference. The injury to Brian Brown, man, that's big. And hopefully they get him back. It's like every week, I'm sure he's tired of me asking him, hey, what about Brian Brown? Where is he at? He's tired of me. I'm tired of talking about it. The old John Gruden quote. But I'm telling you, man, he gets it. He gets it. The movie quote thing, I'm telling you, he's in the club now. He just went from here all the way up here in my book. Good luck to USF Saturday against Tulsa. They should wipe the floor with them. Give me a break. The Bulls are favored by 17 points. They should not have any issues. I would like to see them get off to a better start. And that has been like the biggest problem he's had really in the last month, really the whole season. They just start slowly right out of the gates. And he has no idea why. He's examining it, practice and everything else. Is it psychological? Lack of execution? It's probably all those things. But he needs to figure it out. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. Some really great texts coming in out of the 941. Great interview, Tom. I love how you get folks to talk, and the coach is the real deal. Chris Mathis, okay.
Yes, sir.
Am I like, I don't know, like the modern-day version of Larry King or something? I don't know what's happening here.
Well, I just think you're really great at interviewing, and you have incredible interview skills, and you do your homework, and it shows.
Yeah, I don't know.
And your follow-up questions are always just a boom, boom, you know? You're able to just get that out of them naturally.
People are emotional. People start talking about, the whole thing with the on-campus stadium. That was in the back of my mind. I'm like, okay, I didn't know if he had a view from his office of the on-campus stadium of what was happening there, but he went into great depth and detail, and, he's envisioning what that's going to look like. That will be an amazing spectacle. Amazing. Once USF is done with that. And it will help in recruiting, and it's going to help with, not that Raymond James Stadium isn't it's a great place to play. But for USF, I think you have to have more of a smaller, intimate type of stadium right there on campus where, kids can get out of school, or they can walk from, biology class or psychology class. The football team's playing tonight. Let's go watch them play. You want to pack that thing in. You want to have the student body involved. And like you said, you want to have the alums there. The Matt Grothys of the world. Jason Pierre-Pauls of this world. Marquez Valdez-Scantling and the like. You want to have those guys involved. And they will. And when it all comes together, man, that is going to be beautiful. All right, we're way late for a break. Doesn't matter. Nobody ever needs a break. When we come back on your ride home on this Thursday, my parlay's in, Chris Mathis. I can't wait to share it with everybody. There's a game tonight. Our good buddy Jameis Winston, can he avoid the big mistake? And the Lightning are in action tonight, too. What about their odds? Let it ride. Next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Guys, on this ride home on this beautiful Thursday, it gets darker sooner, so be careful out there. An injury accident can happen at any time to anyone. It happened to me. And when it happened to me from the accident scene, I called my guys over at Catania & Catania, the personal injury law firm that's located right here in Tampa Bay. They've been doing this more than 30 years. They don't get paid unless you get paid. $1 billion has been successfully recovered by my guys for injury victims just like you. So do what I did. They're protecting my rights. They always check in on me. They've got my back. They'll have your back as well. So give them a call. Tell them I sent you. They'll take great care of you. 813-222-8545. That's 813-222-8545, or get a free evaluation vacation.
$500.
Yes, it is. Are you a dealer or an investment counselor?
I will splash the pot whenever the heck I please.
Come on, sir. Yeah, give me 5 times a piece on St. Louis, Minnesota, and Baltimore.
Let it ride on 13.
Yeah, hey, how the hell can you grin? Yeah, come on, give me another marker. All right, it's time to play some bets down. It is Let It Ride, presented by my guy, Dr. Jim DeRespino, the great people over at the Center for Men's Health. Reach them at c4mh.com. And here's our pit boss, Chris Mathis.
All right, Tampa Bay, your Lightning take on the Blue Jackets in Columbus tonight, where the Bolts are a 1.5 goal favorite on the road. The over-under is 6.5 goals, Tom.
Columbus, come on, Euro trash. Give me the Lightning tonight because Blackjack Braden Point is back. That front line, that machine of Point, Kucherov, and Gensel, they're going to get it done. I think the Lightning have some momentum. I'll take the Lightning minus 1.5 goals. I think it goes over, too.
All right, what about Braden Point? Over, under, 0.5 goal for Braden Point.
Yes. Braden Point scores tonight. Blackjack Braden lights the lamp. Give me some of that.
All right, we'll move right into Thursday night football. Here tonight is the 8-2. There we go. Week 12 of the NFL kicks off tonight. The 8-2 Steelers travel to Cleveland and take on a struggling Cleveland Browns team where the visiting Steelers are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is 37.
Chris Mathis, I'm going to take Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns plus 3.5.
How are y'all doing?
Good, Jameis. I got you, my friend. I got you tonight. Now, here's something you need to watch for. There's rain in the area. Game time temperature in the upper 30s, and rain is forecast for the evening. So let that sink in if you're going to place in some prop bets, which I already have through the Hard Rock Bet app. It's going to be a rainy, ugly type of game in Cleveland. Low scoring, maybe 17-13. I'm going to go under, and I'm going to take the Browns. I think it's going to be like a 17-14 type of game. I'm taking the Browns plus 3.5. And I just mentioned to you their success on Thursday Night Football. They've had it. Even though the Steelers have won 5 in a row, they're playing great. This seems like a classic letdown game. You just beat the Ravens, your most hated rival, and now the Steelers on a short week. They've got to go on the road. The Browns and the Steelers, that's a great rivalry. The Browns have won 8 straight games on Thursday nights, including 2 wins over the Steelers.
How about Jameis Winston? You said it's going to rain.
Yep.
Over under 216.5 passing yards. That's 216 passing yards for Jameis Winston.
It's under, Chris. I'm going under because of the rain, because of the Steelers' defense. There's a lot of different factors. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got a 6-leg parlay going right now on the Hard Rock Bet app, and that's one of them, under 216.5 passing yards for Jameis.
What about Russell Wilson? Over under 182.5 passing yards.
I think he goes under too, and I think with the rain in the forecast, you're going to see a lot of Najee Harris and some Jalen Warren in the backfield. So again, it's going to be a low scoring, kind of ugly type of game, an AFC North type of game. So under.
What about George Pickens? Over under 58.5 receiving yards. I know you just said Russell's not going to throw for that many yards.
Yeah, and look, I think he's going to be right there in that 45, 50-yard range. But again, I think I'm going to go under on that as well.
How about David Njoku? Njoku, 4.5 catches over under. And let's go with his receiving yards, 45.5 receiving yards.
I think he's maybe Jameis's favorite receiver. I know Jerry Jeudy had a big game his last time out, but, Njoku will have Minkah Fitzpatrick certainly on him. I'm going to go under on the catches, but I think one of those catches probably pops. So I'm going under on the catches. I think he gets over that 45.5 yards.
Expect ground and pound tonight. Over under 67.5 rushing yards for Najee Harris.
I'm going over, and I think the Steelers will look to ground and pound. I think Najee Harris gets over that number.
You said Jameis Winston throws under 216.5 passing yards. What about over under 51.5 yards for Nick Chubb on the ground?
Nick Chubb's been a little slow. I think the Steelers' defense is outstanding, so I think I'm going under on that.
How about Jalen Warren on the flip side? 36.5 rushing yards tonight against Cleveland.
Well, I'm going over on Najee Harris. I think I'm going to go under on Jalen Warren. He's a little nicked up as well.
All right, let's get right into 3 college football games here. Number 5, Indiana. Number 2, Ohio State. Buckeyes 13-point favorites. The over-under is 52.
I'm taking Tricia Whitaker and the Indiana Hoosiers. I'm taking them plus the points. They're going to keep this thing a little bit closer. Indiana can play. Their quarterback is good, Rourke. Their head coach, Signetti, just got a $72 million extension. They're playing good football. They've been waiting for this game all year long, and I think they're waiting to show everybody that they are real. I think Indiana covers the number.
Number 9, Ole Miss at Florida, where the Gators are 10.5-point underdogs at home. The over-under is 55.5.
I like what the Gators have done the last couple of weeks. I love DJ Lagway. I think he's a gamer. But Ole Miss, man, they've got dudes everywhere. I love Jackson Dart. I love how they get after the passer defensively. You know I'm a big fan of Lane Kiffin.
Massive fan of Kiffin, and he follows you on Twitter.
He does. And I am taking Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is really, really good. Really good.
South Florida, we just spoke with their head coach, Alex Golesh, a few minutes ago. They'll host Tulsa. The Bulls 17.5-point home favorites. Over under 60.5.
I think they find a way, Chris Mathis. By the way, they're showing a live shot. It is snowing in Cleveland.
Oh, my gosh. How about that Thursday night football,
We
man?
got a snow game tonight, baby.
Finally.
I'm taking USF minus the points, and based on the conversation, I think they will get off to a better start. Tulsa's so bad. They're 3-7. They're struggling. You know, last week they gave up a ton of rush yards. I think USF will play fast, they'll pound the ball, and they'll win this game comfortably.
All right, real quick, Tom, run us through your 6-leg parlay tonight that you're running for Thursday Night Football.
Browns plus 3.5, under 37. Jameis under on the passing yards. Pat Freiermuth, over 17.5 receiving yards. Over 1.5 field goals for Chris Boswell. And that's a given, dude. That's like a gimme bet. Chris Boswell is very good. The Steelers struggle in the red zone. He's going to kick more than 1 field goal. And I have over a half a sack for TJ Watt. That means if he gets a sack, boom, I hit. So, listen, it's big, dude. It's a $25 parlay. And if I hit it, Chris Mathis, it's a 4-digit payout.
All right, let's do it. I am excited.
Yeah, you know.
All right, big man. You want to make some big bucks. Let's see how tough you are.
Do you know anything about the Hard Rock Bet app? Where's my money, bitch? Dígame. Let It Ride, presented by the Center for Men's Health at C4MH.com. This show is completely out of control. We got guests coming on. They're pouring their souls out. They're emotional. Tricia Whitaker, I mean, that was heartwarming. Her tearful goodbye to Rays fans. She got emotional. We love her. We're going to miss her. She is so geeked up about Indiana, Ohio State this weekend. I'm taking the Hoosiers, man. I think they're a great story. Hoosiers plus the points. I'll be parked myself in front of my TV for that one on Saturday, man. Oh, yeah. 888-546-4620. Your texts, your phone calls are coming up. By the way, the wise guy that is Rick Stroud, you know, he and Tommy DeVito, they're like that, you know. Rick Stroud had some very interesting things to say. He also had an injury update in terms of the Buccaneers on Mike Evans, Tristan Wirfs, Tyke Smith, Zion McCollum, Jamel Dean. That is coming up just after 6 o'clock. When we come back, breaking news on the Rays, and we'll let you know what's on tonight. That is next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Guys, in the aftermath of the storms, I know a lot of you are trying to put your homes back together. My heart and my prayers go out to you. I know a lot of you are ripping out drywall, and maybe your kitchen was damaged. Maybe your bathroom obviously sustained some damage as well. I've got the solution if you're looking to rebuild or remodel, or they're just there to give you a helping hand. My folks over at CMK Construction, the kitchen and bath experts, they can help, and they will help because they've been doing this for over 20 years in the Tampa Bay area. They do quality work, luxury products, quality install, and they've been recognized for it. Voted the #1 kitchen and bathroom remodeling company now 4 years in a row by readers of the Tampa Bay Times. Proudly serving Tampa Bay and Sarasota communities. Give them a call today. CMK Construction's where it's at. 813-321-4426. That's 813-321-4426. Or hit them up online, cmkconstructioninc.com. CMK
620. Powered locally by Ferguson HVAC. Live across Tampa Bay, The Drive with TKras on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. What's on tonight with The Drive with TKras?
Yes, sir, and it's brought to you by our guy, John Howard, and his amazing team at HowardTeamHomeLoans.com. Here's our guy, Chris Mathis.
All right, Tampa Bay Lightning hockey takes place against the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. They're on the road. It's a 7 o'clock puck drop. Also, Thursday night football between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns there in Cleveland, where it is chilly. It is cold. I believe there was some snow on the television, according to TKras just a few moments ago.
I did. They showed a live shot on ESPN's NFL Live, and they had a reporter in Pittsburgh, and there were snowflakes flying through the air.
Christmas is just around the corner. Now we got a little bit over a month before that. Also, check out the free iHeartRadio app. Search up The Drive with TKras to catch anything that you might have missed today, yesterday, all week long. It is commercial free. Search The Drive.
Yeah.
I despise him.
Some do. Opinions vary. All right, so the breaking news. The St. Pete City Council today voted 4-3 to spend about $24 million to start repairing the Tropicana Field roof. Additional repairs estimated at around $26.5 million will be necessary for the Rays to return to the Trop in time for not next season, the year after, 2026. The council previously approved about $6.5 million in stopgap measures. The vote was taken amid dissent and doubt, including from the Rays, by the way, who were there, that the project can be completed in time and at that cost. Council members who voted for it said they did so to remain in compliance with the lease agreement that requires the city to provide the team a suitable facility to play its home games. The agreement runs through 2027, and because the Rays won't play there in 2025, it can be extended through 2028. So it looks like the Rays have to play there for 3 more years. So even if they don't play there this year, 26, 27, 28, and then 29, who knows? All bets are off. Now, Rays President Brian Auld was at this meeting. He said after the vote that the Rays are skeptical about the planned repairs being completed on time, which would be more problematic for the team than not making the repairs. Here's Brian Ald's quote. I would say that the challenge of being ready for 2026 is enormous. So we, in all likelihood, are going to have a plan for 2026 somewhere, in addition to hoping that the city can get Tropicana Field up and ready. That said, as was said on here a number of times, our staff will work hard so we can partner with the city and get ready to mitigate damages. Auld said that the team would, quote, have more certainty, unquote, getting a settlement check from the city than dealing with the repair plan. Our certainty is actually greater if the decision is made not to repair Tropicana Field, because I don't believe we're going to have a firm answer on whether it can be done for a very long time. Based on the conversations we've had with our engineers, I believe we're looking at a 26 situation where the city is trying to have the stadium ready, and we have to make alternative plans, and all the costs that come with that is actually more problematic for us. That's why we've been working on trying to get a settlement. Oh, man. The resolution approved by the council provides for the city to authorize an agreement, yada, yada, yada. The city will borrow money from 4 other funds to provide the money to cover the cost of the roof repairs. This is interesting to me. So it sounds like the Rays are skeptical that the repairs are going to be made in time for next year, and they may move forward with other plans for 2026. I mean, this is just all up in the air. I mean, I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I got a headache. I do. And my headache is growing even more and more and more, because on the phones is a guy that I really don't want to talk to, but he's begging on the text line, please take my call. Sincerely, guy. What the hell do you want? Listen,
you know this is all I have.
You're on a pitch. You're on a pitch clock, by the way. So hurry up.
I know I am. What do I got this time? 15 seconds. I've been on hold since Monday. Can I have 30 seconds?
Well, you've just spent 6 seconds. You got 9 seconds left.
You know this is all I have. Look, this is the worst week of my life. Okay, first, we're about to lose our baseball team, right? Then I find out that we've traded our Shohei Ohtani, Jose Siri, to the stinking Mets. And now Tricia Whitaker's gone too? It reminds me of when Kelly Nash left years ago. This is awful. What a classy, intelligent woman. Great interview with her. I got a little misty too. Lastly, a Bucks take. What the hell are the Giants thinking starting Danny DeVito? He can't be but 5 feet tall. How's he going to see anything downfield? And that's the bottom line, because sincerely, guys, said so.
Come on, get out of here!
Get out. Yeah, you went over your 15 seconds. That's what kind of a guy I am. Danny DeVito. That's weak. And so are you. All right, 3 hours are in the books. Oh, my gosh. All right, coming up, there are injury updates. There's good news, and there's not so good news for the Buccaneers. They're coming off their bye. They have Tommy DeVito and the Giants awaiting them at MetLife Sunday at 1 o'clock. So, who's healthy enough to come back, and who might be out again on Sunday? We're going to talk to Rick than Tommy DeVito, starting Sunday, 1 o'clock against the Buccaneers up at MetLife Stadium. Good evening, Tampa Bay. Welcome back. It is 6:03 on your ride home. The Drive with yours truly, TKras, Tom Krasnicki, presented by Moss Nissan. Great to have you with us. We'll take you into 7 o'clock. More of your calls and texts coming up. Chris Mathis is riding shotgun as well. Boy, oh boy, has it been an interesting show. People are coming on this program. They're bearing their souls. They're letting it all hang out. They're all opening up to yours truly. I don't know if it's just me, if it's the medium. I have no idea. But everybody's coming on here, and they're bringing something to the table, unlike some of you on the text platform, by the way. But Alex Golesh was with me in the last hour, and I had no idea, Chris Mathis, that conversation was going to manifest itself and grow into something larger. He's talking about the kind of leaders, the kind of kids that he's looking for on the recruiting trail. And I asked him a question about the on-campus stadium and whether or not that he's been keeping tabs on it. And he says, yes, I can actually see it from the window of my office. So it was a great, compelling talk. It was a conversation, really. It wasn't so much an interview, but more of a conversation with Alex Golesh. We certainly appreciate him. And then in case you missed it from earlier, boy, everyone is sad about Tricia Whitaker, who was here for 6 years as the Rays TV reporter. She is moving on to bigger and better things. She joined us. She got emotional. She started crying toward the end when she said her farewells to Tampa Bay and the Rays fans out there, and it was heartwarming. And she's awesome. I love her. We all love her. We are all going to miss her. So she came on here, and she was very emotional about it. In case you missed those interviews online, 953WDA.com. Click on the Drive. It's right there for you. I hope my next guest won't be as emotional as Tricia Whitaker was. Let's go to the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. He's coming off the bye. He's recalibrated. He's our guy, Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times, TampaBay.com. Rick, what say you?
You're not going to get me to cry, Tom. You're not going to get me to cry. I cry before the interview, usually.
Everyone usually cries when they listen to this show. So did you recalibrate just like Todd Bowles during the bye?
Oh, I recalibrated all the way to Denver. Yeah, I did. I went up a mountain. I skied down the mountain. I didn't fall. It was great. I'm recalibrated and not as injured as this Buccaneer team is right now.
Well, the good news is that according to the injury report, which just came out, you just heard Liam Cohen talking about Mike Evans. Mike has been out with that hamstring injury, limited yesterday,